Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys.
Hey guys!
Welcome to Algebra 1. Woohoo! All right, I'm Miss Santiago,
And I'm Mrs. Barley.
and this is going to be your first lesson in a flipped classroom. This one might be a little bit different than the ones that we'll do later in the year, but this is going to be our first lesson to get us started. We are going to watch a video. I want you to pay attention to the movement of this man while he's walking down the stairs.
All right, here we go.
All right, so think about some things.
We're recording, or we're looking at the elevation off of the ground, so how high up is this guy, versus his time. How long does it take him to travel? Okay,
So what Miss Barley and I did for you right now is actually screenshot the man's elevation over time. But one quick question we want you to think about. Why is elevation and time important? Take a couple minutes or a couple seconds and think about that question.
okay. What is elevation? What is time? How are they related? The variables that we are measuring, okay? Elevation is on the y-axis and the time is on the x-axis, okay? Why is that? Elevation, you can kind of think about it like your height above the ground, okay? That's going to be here on my y-axis. This is my elevation. And the x-axis is recording the time. So how long does it take for us to reach a certain height?
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to show you guys each screen, and what we're going to do right now is kind of just show you where the man is, because it might be difficult to see. So that man is standing right back here. He's right here. What's happening now? If you notice, it's 0 second, 1 second, 2 seconds. I want you on your paper right now to graph what would that look like. How high do you think he was at the top of the stairs? Now, would we have an elevation of 0? No, probably not, because 0 would be our ground. And then I want you to think about, how did you estimate that elevation? Now, some people in the class might have something different. That's okay. Just go ahead and take a guess. All right, so we're going to pause the video now. You go ahead and graph this small piece of the video.
Okay, and remember, we are graphing on an X and Y chart. Okay, his elevation, so that's how high he is off of the ground, versus his time. How long is he at that height?
Okay, here are the next couple of seconds. Again, now you're going to take the piece that you already have and show, here he is, right here. What is he doing? What is that man doing right now? These little marks are just kind of used to help you see where he's going. We're going to pause the video, graph this section. All right, we have the 6th and 7th second. Here's the man. Here's the man. What is he doing?
All right, so looking here again at seconds 8 and 9, again, here's the man, here's the man. What's happening to his elevation? Continue graphing, but what would your graph look like now at seconds 10 and 11? What's happening to his elevation?
All right, same thing. Now we have 12, 13. Now, if you remember in the video, something tricky happens between 13 and 14. So make sure you take that into consideration and we can have conversation about that. All right, when you have completed your graph, I want you to go ahead and answer these two questions.
Question number 1. Where were the intervals of time when his elevation wasn't changing? Was he still moving?
And number 2, did his elevation ever increase? When?
So
And this is the answer that you should have gotten for your graph. Now, if you did not get something that looks like this, that's okay. Again, this is the first lesson, and we just wanted you to understand this is something called a piecewise linear function.
So let's take a look at the graph. At the starting point, at 0, the man didn't start on the ground down here. His height was all the way up here at about 30 feet off the ground. Now, if you don't have 30 feet on your paper, again, that's fine. That's just an estimation. I didn't have a ruler, but, we did some guessing, his height and how tall is, a second-story floor and things like that. And we came up with 30 feet. So he kind of was traveling around on that second-story platform for a while. Then he went down the stairs for a few seconds, turned around on that platform, so he was still at this elevation as time was going on. He went down a couple more stairs, stayed on that platform and turned around again, went down, and now here he is on the ground, walking in the parking lot. And then this is when he did that little jump up onto the sidewalk, and then he kept walking.
Now, what we want you to do is look at this graph and come up with a story that could match what's happening in the graph. This is going to be collected, and it might be a grade, but just be creative. Come up with something that could represent this graph.
All right, so the whole purpose of this lesson was to introduce what is called a piecewise linear function, okay? So all that means is that this is just going to contain pieces of a linear function. So if we look here at the first example, here's a piece of the line that goes this way, okay? Then it's connected with a piece of another line. Then it's connected with a piece of another line. Then it's connected to the piece of this last little part right here. So all these different pieces placed together make this graph. That's what's called a piecewise linear function.
We will see a lot of this in later units, but this is just your introduction. All right, well, you guys did a great job on your first flip lesson. We will see you for lesson 2.
Good luck.